What is up, guys? My name is Lex and today's video is from Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida. We are playing 5-10 no limit, and later on in the night the game gets bumped to 10-25 no limit. I end up buying in for over $15,000. Make sure to stay all the way to the end of the video to watch all the hands. Let's start off this first one here. There's an early position raised to $80. There's a call out of the blinds, and I look down at ace king suited out of the straddle. I raise it up to $375. I get a call from the initial raiser and a call from the big blind. We go three ways to a king high board. Given the fact that there's all clubs on this flop, I think I could c-bet smaller here, so I decided to go less than 1/3 size of the pot. $300. Initial raiser folds. Big blind shows me ace 10 offsuit, no club, and folds, and we win this first pot. I just posted a video 2 days ago of myself losing almost $6,000 playing poker. The day after that, I didn't record for a vlog and I lost over $3,000, so things haven't really been going my way here on the poker felt lately, but let's see if we can change that today. Ace 3 of diamonds, I raised to $75 in middle position. Big blind and straddle make the call. Three ways here in position to a board of king 4 deuce rainbow. I flop a gut shot straight draw, 1 over card, and on this particular flop, I don't think my opponents are going to be connecting too well, especially the big blind. So when they check to me, I feel like it's an easy spot to put out a c-bet here. I make it $80. Big blind makes to fold, and then the straddle player, to my surprise, check raises me to $250. Right off the bat, I feel like he really doesn't have too strong of a hand here. I mean, if he did flop 2-pair on this super dry, unconnected board, wouldn't he just call and want me to continue to bluff if he had pocket 4s or deuces? It's possible he could have king 4, maybe king deuce, probably not 4 deuce. I make the call, considering that it's a good price, and if I hit my straight, I could probably win a big pot. Turn card's the ace of clubs, so now we do improve to top pair. I expect him to check a lot of the time, but he does not check. He bets out $550, and now things are starting to get a little bit sketchy. So far, this hand really hasn't made too much sense. If he did flop 2-pair or a set, and he was heads up out of position on such a dry and unconnected board, I think a lot of the time he would just call on the flop. So considering the fact that he raised on the flop, he's pretty polarized to having very strong hands or having some bluffs. Now, when he continues on this ace turn card, which is a much better card for my particular range, I can have ace king, I can have aces. He really can't have those hands. He's now even more polarized to having pocket 4s or pocket deuces or some bluffs. There's definitely a lot of bluffs he can have. He can have some hands on the flop that he check raised with some backdoor potential, some backdoor straight draws, some backdoor flush draws. Now that this ace of clubs does bring in a backdoor club draw, I feel like it's definitely possible he could have some of those hands. It is possible we could be beat here a small percentage of the time. I can't be folding top pair after calling a check raise on the flop though, so I make the call. A big pot brewing here, going to the river, and we do improve. It's the 3 of spades, giving me 2-pair. We are now beating hands like king 4 and king deuce, which was 2-pair on the flop, which is good, but we're still losing to pocket 4s, pocket deuces. Any 5 now makes a straight. What will my opponent do? He decides to continue to bet, but now for a very small sizing, less than 1/4 size of the pot, $425. And inside, I'm just thinking to myself, this sucks. I mean, don't feel like he's really bluffing for this sizing. He could still maybe be value betting worse. It's possible he can have a 5. I don't see many 5s in his range though after he's played the hand like this. I think for this price, I'm just going to have to pay it off and see what he's got. And he shows 4-5 of clubs for a straight on the river. He check raised with a 4 on the flop. He barreled big when he picked up a flush draw, and he got there on the river, giving us 2-pair. Pretty tilting spot to lose over $1,000. Not really liking that run out. That river card definitely cost us. Gotta shake off that next hand and move into this one where I pick up a pretty ace queen of diamonds. Small blind, the same player from the last hand, raises to 100. I 3-bet to $300 in position, and he makes the call. Heads up now to king 6-4-1 diamond. We do completely miss, but not gonna give up. I have the range advantage. I've got backdoor draws, straight draws, backdoor flush draws. Still an overcard of the board. I bet out 175, and small blind makes the call. Turn now gives us some more equity with the 9 of diamonds. This card shouldn't improve him unless he has a hand like King 9 suited. Not sure if he's calling a 3-bet out of position with King 9, but I think it's a good spot for me to continue to double barrel here, represent those big pocket pairs like aces, kings, ace, king, king, queen. I bet out 525. Before my chips hit the felt, he folds and we win. Up next, there's a recreational player who raises out of the cutoff, small blind calls. I call in the big blind with ace 6 of clubs and the straddle calls. 4 ways to 7, 8, 7, 2 clubs. Liking this board, nut flush draw for us. We check over to the cutoff who bets $150. I could check raise on this board, but given the fact that the cutoff bet into 3 people, he probably has a pretty strong hand that he's not looking to fold. I would rather just take my equity here on the turn, which I do pick up a lot. It's the 5 of spades, so now I'm open-ended, along with a flush draw and an ace overcard. I check to him, he bets out $250, and same concept here. I don't feel like he's folding any overpairs in this situation. He could possibly have some worse flush draws, so I decided to just make the call again, looking to hit one of my many outs here on the river, and I miss. It's the Jack of Diamonds, ugly card for us. I check to him, he checks back, I show ace high, and he shows 4-5 offsuit for a pair of 5s. We miss every single one of our outs, and we lose a small pot here. Still pretty tilting because I was just so far ahead on the flop, and we end up missing everything. We've been losing some hands, but we could possibly get it back here now with pocket kings. There is a button open to $60. I 3-bet out of the big blind to $250, and the action's back over here on the button. The button is a Euro professional player who came here to play poker. He seems pretty serious about the game, and when he puts in a 4-bet to $650, I am feeling pretty excited. Now, kings is the second best hand you can get pre-flop. We could be up against pocket aces, but we could be up against a ton of other hands as well. He could have some hands for value that he's 4-betting here, button versus big blind, hands like pocket queens, pocket jacks, maybe even pocket tens. He can have ace king, ace queen, ace 5 suited for some bluffs, maybe some weaker other ace X hands as well. Now I have to decide whether I just want to call this 4-bet here out of position with pocket kings, or if I want a 5-bet jam for his 2.5k stack. The straddle's on, so we started the hand with around 100 big blinds. If he is 4-betting here with a very strong hand, he's most likely going to be calling it off. However, these positions are the widest positions in poker. Button open versus big blind 3-bet. He could have a wider range of hands here, and if I 5-bet jam, it's just going to fold out all of his bluffs and maybe even fold out hands like pocket tens and pocket jacks that we're completely crushing. Let's say the positions were different where he opened from early position, I 3-bet, then he 4-bet. I would most likely always just 5-bet jam for 100 big blinds in that situation, but like I said, button versus big blind, he should be pretty wide here. He knows that I'm going to be 3-betting wide as well. I want to keep his bluffs in, so I just make the call. Let's see a flop here. Pocket kings, 4-bet pot, and the board comes out queen high. Not my favorite. Pocket queens now moves into the lead with a set, but ace queen is now a very good hand for him, but is losing to us. I check over to my opponent who bets out $400. Feel like the way we played this, our only option here is to call, which is what I do. There is now $2,100 in the middle of this pot. My opponent has around $1,500. Honestly, I'm hoping for a clean turn card. I will check over to him, and hopefully he jams all in and doesn't have us beat. He could have a lot of bluffs still. The turn's a 3. I check, and unfortunately now he checks behind. Now this is good because I know that we always have the best hand, but this is bad because this means he's completely given up on any bluffs that maybe he had pre-flop or on the flop. Going now to the river, which is the Jack of Clubs, also not my favorite card. Queen Jack now makes 2 pair pocket jacks, makes a set. I go back and forth whether I want to bet here or check over to him. If I bet, I don't think he's going to be calling with ace high or smaller pocket pairs. I feel like the best option is to check call and allow him to bluff, but he instant checks back. Kings are good. And we do end up getting a little bit back here, around $1,000 of profit with pocket kings. We are still stuck a little bit of money from earlier on in this session, but now dealt in pocket aces. Went from kings to pocket aces. Small blind, same player from last hand who 4-bet us, raises to 75. I 3-bet the big blind to 250. Praying for a 4-bet this time from my opponent, but he just makes the call. Heads up here, in position, pocket aces to not so great of a flop in a 3-bet pot. 9-10 jack with 2 diamonds. Aces can't really improve on this board. It's very wet and connected. He can have a ton of 2 pairs, sets, and straights. However, I still bet on this flop, thinking I can still get called by worse hands. I don't have the ace of diamonds. My opponent snap folds though, which I'm fine with. It's always nice to win a decent pot with pocket aces. We are turning around here, getting a little bit back, but we still have some bigger hands to come throughout the session. Speaking of bigger, the table now decides to bump up the stakes. We're now going to be playing 10-25 with a $50 straddle, so basically doubling the stakes, but the buy-in is now uncapped. There's a couple players at the table who are recreational players who have a ton of money. One particular player has over $15,000, so I head to the cage and take out $15K worth of $1,000 pumpkin chips and add them on to my stack. We're now in the game for around $20,000, sitting on $17K. This is where we can get it all back and win a huge profit. As I mentioned earlier, there's a recreational player at the table with a huge stack. He has been running very well so far this session and has been making some good decisions. He made a couple good hero calls, a couple good hero folds, and some big bluffs. He's crushing us now. He's probably up over $10,000. That's one of the reasons I added on so deep, is to try to play some pots with him. Well, in this hand, I raised to $125 with King Jack offsuit. He makes a call on the button, and then he says, "Oh, Lex, you raised?" As if he didn't know I raised. I didn't really ask him any questions, but it sounds like he was trying to raise himself on the button and didn't know that I opened up the action, so I'm not really sure what that says about the strength of his hand, but we end up going heads up here to a queen high flop. I decide to check over to him, and he bets out a $200 sizing. Now, given the fact that we're over $15,000 effective, with King Jack here, I feel like I'm just going to have to see the turn card and float. I could have the best hand sometimes. I could bluff later on. I could pick up some equity with straight draws. I still have an overcard to the board, so I make the call for 200, and I do now hit top pair with a king on the turn. I check again, and now he bets smaller than he did on the flop. He makes it $175, and immediately I think to myself, he's got a queen X hand that he's trying to bet small on the turn so that he can check back the river. So I go with a check raise here with top pair to $600. Given his sizing on the turn, I feel like he's just not going to have a very strong hand. He's either going to have maybe some bluffs, but most likely a queen X hand that he's trying to get to a cheap showdown with. If he bets small on the turn and I call, he can just check back every single river. Well, once I make this $600 raise, he goes into the tank for a little bit of time and eventually makes the call. So now I'm starting to think that he may not have a queen X hand. He may have a straight draw, something like 9-10 or Jack 10. I'm considering what I want to do here on the river if the straight draws miss. Should I check over to him and allow him to bluff, or should I try to go for thin value? And the river card's a 6. All the straight draws miss. I could check, I could bet, and now I decide to check over to him, trying to get him to bluff, but he instantly checks back and shows pocket aces. Holy crap, what the heck is going on? I guess pre-flop, he would have 3-bet me if he realized I raised. Kind of unfortunate there for us to hit a king on the turn. We check raise for value, but little did we know we were value owning ourselves against aces. Such a weird pot, but I guess it could have been worse, because if he would have 3-bet us pre-flop, I would have had to call. I didn't add on $15K to my stack to fold a Broadway hand, so we probably would have lost way more if he knew that we raised. This next hand, I get a little out of line pre-flop. The recreational player who just had pocket aces last hand raises to $200 under the gun. I have queen 6 suited on the button. I want to try to get in there. I want to play some pots with him. There's also another recreational player with a couple $1,000s in the straddle. Would like to play some pots with him as well. Queen 6 suited is a terrible hand. It can be dominated, but we can make some weird 2 pairs, some flushes. I've got position, So I make the call, and the straddle makes the call as well. A great spot for us. 3 ways here. Super deep stack to an ace, king, 5, 2-heart board. This is one of the best flops you can get for queen 6 of hearts. We have this second nut flush draw. Under the gun now bets $400. I make the call, and the straddle makes the call. This pot is getting big. A great time to hit a heart on the turn, but not this time. 7 of spades. Doesn't improve us at all. We don't pick up any extra equity. Straddle checks. Now under the gun initial raiser, who bet into 3 people on the flop, does a little speech play. He asks how much the pot is. The dealer, of course, can't tell him how much the pot is. Then he does a little math in his head and estimates the pot's around $2,000. And ultimately, he decides to bet $600. If he would have bet very large here, like pot or 2/3 size of the pot, I would probably just let go of my hand. But $600, I'm getting a very good price here with queen 6. I can draw to my flush. If I do hit my flush, I could potentially get paid off from a big bet on the river. I don't feel like he's going to have a set or 2 pair very often here, so it is possible I could maybe bluff if he checks to me on the river as well. I put in the call for $600. Straddle makes to fold, so now we are heads up here in position. $3,000+ in the middle. Drum roll, please, to the river. 10 of spades. We miss another flush draw. Damn, would have been so nice to hit our flush just one time this session. My opponent, now in the under the gun position, slows down and checks over to me. I think to myself, would he ever be checking here with ace, king, pocket aces, pocket kings, pocket 5s? I feel like he wouldn't check 2 pairs or sets over to me. This could be a spot I could put in a huge bet to try to get him to fold out a 1-pair hand. One of the things that I really love about playing super deep stack poker, where over $15,000 effective to start this hand, is that you could put max pressure on potential 1-pair hands. Let's say I bet $6,000 here on this river and he has a hand like ace jack, ace queen, weaker ace, or king x of hearts. He's going to be put into a really tough spot. Does he really want to call off $6,000 with one single pair? I do have the queen of hearts in my hand, so I can have queen jack for the nuts. I could also potentially have hit 2 pair on the river here with this 10. Should I go for it? Should I make a huge bet to try to get my opponent to fold? The other thing that's going through my head is that he's up a ton of money on this session. If I do put out a big bet of $6,000 here, he may think to himself, hey, I'm already up $12,000. If I call here and I'm wrong, I'll still be up $6K, which is definitely deterring me from trying to bluff on the river. A lot of recreational players in Florida just like to see it. I'm going back and forth. Should I go for it here with a huge bet, or should I check back? And ultimately, I decide to chicken out and check back queen high, and it is a good thing I do when my opponent rolls over pocket 5s for bottom set. Wow, that would not have worked. If I overbet the river, he would have snap called and we would have lost a massive pot. I'm glad I gave up here. My opponent played this hand perfectly, checking to induce on the river. He ends up winning a nice one. Good hand there from my opponent. When you bump up the stakes of the game and buying for more money, the swings can get bigger. Unfortunately for us, we've been losing now since the 10-25-50 game has started running. Things are not really going well for us. In this hand, I raise 5-6 of clubs. Big blind 3 bets me 4x to $600. Big stack recreational player cold calls. I call here on the button in position with a suited connector, looking for some clubs, 2 pairs, straights, but we don't get it on a jack 9 deuce all red board. Big blind bets, under the gun calls, and we fold and lose another $600 here. All right, last hand of the night, and we get a big hand. Ace-king offsuit in the big blind. The big stack player I've been battling with all night raises to 150. I 3-bet to 600, and he makes the call. We go heads up here, 3-bet pot, out of position over $1,200 in the middle, and it comes out 9-9 deuce rainbow. Obviously not a great board for ace-king. We completely miss. When he calls here, he could have some weaker ace-high hands, some Broadway cards, but he probably has a lot of pocket pairs. I start off with a check over to him. He bets out super big, an $800 sizing. I consider maybe calling here with ace-high out of position. Then I also consider maybe putting in a check raise, trying to put him in a tough spot with hands like pocket 8s or pocket 7s or pocket 10s. I can have aces and kings. He really can't have those hands given the fact that he just called pre-flop. But ultimately, I decide to just check fold ace-king on this 9-9 deuce board. He was nice enough to show me, though, he had pocket jacks, so really glad I didn't try to pull any crazy bluff there because he was not going to be folding that hand. And again, we lose another pot, $600 going down the drain. This session has become extremely frustrating. I decide to just rage quit after losing basically every hand I played over the last 3 hours. I end up racking up my chips, heading to the cage, and calling it a night. So just about 2 weeks ago, I was talking to the camera, telling you guys that I was on the biggest upswing, the best year of poker I've ever had, 3 consecutive months of $20,000 worth of profit. It's been insane. I've been on an incredible upswing, and I was a little bit nervous that I was potentially going to jinx myself into a downswing. Now, I know that's not how poker works, but unfortunately, we have come in to a little bit of a poker downswing. I've lost like $16,000 this week. I had like a $6,000 loss in the last video I posted. The day after that, I lost over $3,000. And then yesterday, I had over a $5,000 loss playing 5-10 and 10-25. Now, the video you guys just watched, I was actually not sure if I wanted to post it. Not because I lost, not because I lost a large amount of money, but because there wasn't any like huge, significant, exciting big pots during the entire session. There wasn't any hands that I thought were like really exciting or like I really had to break down exactly what happened. It was basically just me losing pots, running bad, missing boards, not making any hands, missing flush draws, not making any pairs, and just losing and losing and losing. Well, I decided to post a video, obviously. One, because I want to be open, I want to be honest, I want to share with you guys, my results. I don't want to try to hide, me losing any big sessions. And two, I feel like it's a great representation of what actually happens when you play poker for a living, or if you play poker on a regular basis. Every single time you go into the poker room, it's not going to be super exciting. Every time you go in there, you're not going to win huge or lose huge. You're not going to get aces versus kings. You're not going to flop a bunch of sets. And it's also not going to go terribly wrong either, where you get stacked multiple times. Sometimes you just go in there and you just lose a lot of small to medium-sized pots. You don't make any hands, you can't make any pairs, you can't make any flushes, you miss everything, and you end up losing money. I don't think I played bad yesterday. I feel like I played fine. Don't feel like I made any huge mistakes. I just lost basically every single pot I played. I played a big game, 5, 10, 25, 10, 25, 50, and I lost around $5,000, and it happens though. I want to showcase to you guys what it's like to play poker for a living, and sometimes that happens. It is pretty frustrating. It was annoying. The game was good. There was a lot of money on the table, and I just could not get anything going. Ended up losing over $5,000, but I've gone through this enough. I've been playing poker for over 5 years. I've seen the downswings, I've seen the upswings, and as long as I'm playing good, I feel like that's all that matters. Took a little bit of time off today, went to the gym, and I'm going to get back at it tonight and try to get a little bit of my money back. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this video. It wasn't too crazy, not that many huge exciting hands, but this is real. This is what it's like to play poker for a living. Sometimes it's boring, sometimes you just lose money, and that's how it goes. But I'm out here walking rogue. It's about to get dark. I'm gonna head over to the Hard Rock later, try to win some of that money back. Please like, comment, subscribe down below, and until next time, I'll see ya.